The forecast is actually calling for thunder and rain today. We'll see. I guess drone delivery is making its way across the world. This one here says, first flight, AN Post just carried out Ireland's first ever autonomous parcel delivery from mainland to island using a drone. And they actually showed a picture of the waypoint mission and everything like that. It says here, 5,561 meters, 3 points, a total flight time of 11 minutes and 20 seconds with one battery. Isn't that really fast to fly that length? Unless I'm reading it wrong, it just doesn't sound accurate to me. Like it says here, like the altitude makes sense, 23.6 meters. But for the speed, does that say 9.9 meters per second? Or does that stand for something else? Because that sounds way too fast. Like almost 10 meters a second. Just a matter of time before stuff like this becomes common every day. Although it's still kind of interesting for me to read comments. Like for me, when I read it, it'll be like, wow, nice kind of progress with the tech. But then people would throw in comments like, beyond line of sight. Did you get special permit for that? It actually just makes me think of the more light-hearted stuff, like when people are flying a quote toy drone. Let's just say it's only 1 meter in the air, and then you have these quote drone polices, people looking at it just saying, hey, is that legal? They're like, come on. Like obviously in some cases you should get clearance and stuff and all that, but it makes me wonder for really simple stuff whether or not people are programmed just to kind of, I guess in their mind, accept, hey, that's the way the law is written, it must make sense, as opposed to actually thinking about it rationally and saying, no, maybe it doesn't make any sense. And this was sad news I read. I'm usually looking out for different hikes and places just to visit and all that, and maybe even fly the drone to document it. This one says, BC hikers who died living their dreams inspired people to be free, high on life. So these were locals here, and they actually make things like YouTube videos too, and apparently they died in one of the places that I showed you guys recently. It was the Shannon Falls, it says. From what I gathered with the story, they tried to get really close on one of the ledges to take, I guess, like a selfie, and the girl slipped in, and obviously she was about to fall down, and because of that, the two guys jumped in to try to save her, which unfortunately wasn't a good idea, and they all ended up falling off the cliff. And it even says the bodies of the 3 victims were recovered Wednesday after RCMP rappelled to a waterfall through helicopter because the area is otherwise inaccessible. So ultimately a very unfortunate incident, I guess, of trying to get the shot. Although this was surprising, it says in January 2017, Gamble and 2 other men involved in the High on Life blog pleaded guilty to walking on a sensitive hotspot in Yellowstone National Park and breaking other rules at parks in the western United States. So for the sake of perspective, it actually got me curious to see what do people on the other side of the border think about this. And here, like an article for example, it says, YouTube daredevils filmed dangerous stunts for clicks, then died going over a waterfall. And it goes on to say their deaths on July 3rd are a tragedy, but one that has been shrouded in controversy because the 3 were associated with High on Life. Members of the group traveled to locales and at times vault guardrails and ignore warning signs as they dive from cliffs, swing through canyons, always with cameras recording for YouTube and Instagram followers. It's kind of interesting to see the different perspective. Like in a more local article there, it's more about, oh, these guys inspired people to be their best doing all these crazy things, but on the other side is, okay, these are just a bunch of people trying to do stupid things to get clicks and stuff like that. Like it was bound to happen. Kind of makes me wonder what side of the fence would you be on in a situation like this? Would you see it more as, I guess, people just trying to get out of their comfort zone and trying to do outrageous things to inspire people, or do you see it as basically just people trying to do things for the fame and the glory? I guess another sad thing about this too is while researching about the perspectives, it seemed like these guys were posting an ad because they were looking for an editor, so it seemed like they were actually really thinking of expanding, I guess, their channel, quote, business, whatever you want to call it. So it's kind of sad that this happened. For myself, as usual, I'm pretty open-minded. I try to look things at all perspective, but the bottom line is, for me, I don't know them personally, so I can't specifically say their motivation for doing this was this. Because just for something that people think about, like for example, just reading things like that saying, oh, they're always filming this or whatever, they're doing it just for like, you know, the clicks or whatever. I mean, you don't know people's motivations necessarily unless you know them personally. Like for me, I make the videos just as a creative outlet for the most part, which I just thought other people would enjoy seeing as well. And when I read things, for example, some of you say you're disabled, for example, you can't even walk in terms of getting to places, and you find a huge benefit to just see me going around capturing the scenery and all that. And to me, that's extra motivation to do stuff. I guess for me, the universal message would be try to live life to its fullest and be sure you're doing things that you enjoy every day. Don't do it necessarily just to impress other people. Make sure you're fulfilled in what you do. Otherwise, you could end up doing, you know, things that you don't really agree with, but you do it because you think you have to do it. Like, that's always not a good place to be in. That was a pretty sharp turn with the plane, actually. All right, see you guys later.